Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and mental health educator. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week for the 550th time, we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Now, that is true. I actually have 550 videos. Anyway, today's video is called The Power of Surrender, but before we do this, we have to tell our joke. So why did the snake lose his case in court? Well, he didn't have a leg to stand on. All right, so the power of surrender. Last week I mentioned about this hip replacement surgery, which will probably be one of the defining moments of my life. Occurred in August of 2021. And, my chiropractor said, "Don't worry, Doug, it's a slam dunk." Right, he's never had one. One of the things I was first surprised me when I came back from the hospital in the first couple of days was I was in a lot more pain than I realized. Also, I was exhausted. I mean, I hardly had any energy. And then on the 11th day after the surgery, I fell, you guessed it, right on the left hip where I'd had the surgery. Although I didn't break anything, I re-injured an old injury from 14 years ago, the psoas muscle, which had taken me 8 months to recover from. So this put me in a really down mood, and I started to get despairing that, will I ever get over this? Well, the chiropractor who originally told me to get the surgery, based on his diagnosis of severe arthritis, said, "Don't worry, Doug, my father-in-law had 2 hip replacement surgeries back to back. At the age of 86, he came through with flying colors." 86, I thought? My God, I'm falling apart at 72. How am I even going to make it to 78? And if I do, I'm not going to have very much of a quality of life if I continue like this. How am I going to have any, what's the word I could say? Vitality, right? And so as I contemplated, moving forward with this kind of limitation I'd been feeling right now, I started to sink into depression, despair, and hopelessness. Then one morning, as I was thinking about all this, I had a sudden insight. I said, wait. Okay, let's accept that my mortal self is too weak, too infirm to handle, what I'm facing. But perhaps there's something greater than myself I can rely on that will see me through this difficulty. And then what came to me was the 3rd step of Alcoholics Anonymous, which says, made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God, or as some people might say, higher power. And at that point, I realized, well, why is such an important step for A? Because it's in doing that that the alcoholic has the support, the invisible means of support to refrain from drinking. When he tried to do it on his own or her own, it didn't work. So what was the answer in 12 steps? Turn your will and your life over to something greater and depend on that, not on your mortal self. And that's exactly what I decided I was going to have to do. Based on what I said, I myself made a conscious decision to turn my will and my life over to something greater to help me through the situation, not just now, but into the future. And I thought I would use this power as like a North Star to guide me. And when I did that, when I really felt this sense of turning it over, a sense of peace and serenity came over me to replace the worry and anxiety I felt. I really felt that I was okay, that, maybe the Douglas Bloch, the mortal Douglas Bloch, wasn't strong enough to make it to his 70s, 80s, 90s, but something else, as when I was in the psych ward, right? Something came along and lifted me out of that. Well, I could depend on that same power to help me through this challenge. And as I said, I felt some peace and some serenity. The idea of surrender is difficult for many people to understand. When we think of surrender, you might think of, surrendering to an enemy or resigning a chess game. And by the way, I hope you guys all watched the Queen's Gambit. But surrendering in a spiritual sense does not mean giving up. The paradox is that when you admit your powerlessness, you gain more power. So surrender in a spiritual sense doesn't mean giving up, it means giving it over. Letting this greater force guide and direct you, and relying on that, not your own small will. And that's why they say in AA, one of their favorite aphorisms is, let go and let God. Surrendering is not easy to do. Why? Because we're all stubborn, we all have our own egos, and some people have to exhaust every possible option they have before they're literally driven to surrender. AA has a term for this. They call it the gift of desperation. The gift of desperation. Boy, do I like that term. I'm sure many of you have had the gift of desperation. And then you say, all right, I give up. And that's when things start to happen. Now, surrendering to a higher power doesn't mean you don't do anything yourself. It doesn't mean you advocate responsibility. No, no, no. In AA, after the third step, there are 9 other steps. It's a 12-step program. You have to make amends and you have to do prayer and meditation. So it's a program. The same thing in depression recovery, right? We have to go ahead and exercise. We have to eat well, sleep well, do cognitive behavioral therapy, refute our negative thoughts, reach out for support, the whole 9 yards, right? So you don't just say, I'm sitting back and letting higher power take over, right? You do everything you can with your limited power, and then when you come to the edge of what you can't do, that's when you turn it over. So this is my situation right now. I'm taking responsibility. I'm doing everything I can to heal from the surgery. I'm following the PT exercises, even though they take up an awful lot of time. I'm checking with a surgeon to see how my wound is healing. I'm refraining from getting back on my bike, which I really want to do, but they say I'm not ready yet. I'm refraining from going to my hot tub to relax, which would help me sleep because I'm not ready yet. And when I think, okay, I've reached the limits of what I can do, I need some support, I call upon this higher power to help me. And I remember specifically, as I said earlier in this talk, all the times when I was in the psych hospital, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, when I never thought I would escape from that darkness, my higher power came in and helped me out. And so I say to myself now, if grace could help me then grace will help me now. This has been Douglas Bloch. Thank you for watching this video. I gotta tell you something, guys. I am pushing myself through this video. I really have been quite tired and exhausted, and my sleep hasn't been well. But you know what? I am so committed to doing these things because this is important, right? We all need help. We all need support, and this is my little contribution. So, if you did like this video, give it a like. I hope you did. You can also write your comments in the comments section. You can email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. And if you'd like to subscribe to this channel, I think we have about 81,000 subscribers. I really want to get to 100,000 in the next 3 years. Well, you can help me do that by signing up, clicking on the button, and there's a bell to the right. You'll be notified every time I do a new live chat or new video. And if you want to become a patron of this channel, help me pay for these wonderful videographers, simply click on the Patreon link. You'll be taken to my crowdfunding site, and you can join for as little as $2 a month. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. And remember, if you can't do it yourself, ask something greater than yourself to take over. It works for me. Try it out.